You know, deep inside your head, right at this very moment, a battle is raging. It's a conflict between two fundamental states of your mind. And if you want to unlock your own mental evolution, you've got to understand this battle. And our guide for figuring this all out? Well, it's a name you probably wouldn't expect, Charles Darwin.
So, let me ask you something right off the bat. What's your mind's default setting? Think of it like a computer. Is it set up for automatic updates, always getting the latest software? Or does it kind of stick with the old, trusted programs it's always used? Because believe it or not, we all have a factory setting, and it's there for a powerful evolutionary reason. That default setting, we're going to call it fixity of the mind. It's our natural state, right? It's what kept our ancestors safe. It loves stability. It clings to what's familiar, us and ours. Now, the flip side is flexibility of the mind. But here's the catch. This is not the default. It's like a premium software upgrade you have to consciously choose to install. It's the hard work that lets us adapt, learn, and actually grow. And if you want to see this battle in action, really see it, there's no better case study than Charles Darwin. His whole journey, the one that changed the world, wasn't just some aha moment. Oh no, it was a 20-year war. A war against his own fixed mind and the fixed mindset of, well, pretty much everyone else.
20 years. Just let that sink in for a second. Darwin basically had his groundbreaking theory figured out by 1838, but he sat on it for 2 entire decades before publishing On the Origin of Species. Why? This was way more than just putting it off. This was an all-out war he was fighting inside his own head.
See, Darwin's idea wasn't just new, it was dangerous. It completely went against everything Victorian society believed in. You had a world run by theology, where God created everything just as it is, unchanging. To suggest species could change? That was pure blasphemy. So he was basically rebelling against the government, the church, his family, his friends, even his own upbringing. Those 20 years were him wrestling with this, trying to reassure himself that what he'd found was real. He knew he had to win the battle with himself first, long before he could take on the world.
And what's amazing is, Darwin totally got it. He knew exactly what he was up against. He wrote that the main reason we hate these big new ideas is that we're just slow to accept huge changes when we can't see every single step along the way. He understood that our brains are programmed for stability, not for these massive, earth-shattering shifts. He was asking people to take a leap of faith that their minds were literally designed to resist.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Through all that struggle, all that delay, Darwin discovered something maybe even more profound than evolution itself. He pinpointed the one mental tool, you could almost call it a superpower, that a person needs to even begin to accept a world-changing idea.
And in this quote, he basically lays out his game plan. He knew he wasn't going to convince the establishment, right? Their minds were already made up. So he aimed for the future. He put his hope in a new generation of naturalists, people he said were endowed with much flexibility of mind, who would be able to view both sides of the question with impartiality. That was his target audience.
And there it is. That's the superpower, flexibility of mind. Darwin realized this wasn't just about accepting evolution. This was the key. It's the essential tool for breaking out of our default programming, that fixity we all have. It's really the foundation for any kind of evolutionary thinking, whether we're talking about species over millions of years or our own ideas in a single lifetime.
So this flexibility thing isn't just some fuzzy concept. If you look at what Darwin did, it breaks down into a pretty clear 3-step process. First, you have to have a flexible, unbiased approach when new information comes your way. Second, you have to be able to question things with impartiality, keeping your own biases in check. And third, and this is the tough one, you need the courage, the conviction to actually express what you've concluded, even if it goes against the grain.
Okay, so what does a story about a guy from 200 years ago have to do with you, right here, right now? Well, everything, because that huge battle Darwin fought out in the world, that's the same battle each of us fights inside our own heads every single day. We're constantly bombarded with stuff that challenges what we believe, and who we become really depends on how we choose to react to it.
This whole journey, this quest for mental flexibility, it all boils down to one phrase: winning over the self. This has nothing to do with winning an argument with someone else. It's about you. It's about letting the person you are today win out over the person you were yesterday. It's about allowing yourself to evolve.
So, how do we actually do this? Where do you even start?
The first step is something called reflective consciousness. The best way to think about it is like having a little manager inside your head, standing over your shoulder. This manager isn't doing the day-to-day thinking, it's observing the thinking. It's checking your work for biases, for emotional reactions, for bad logic. And it's not passive. You have to actively turn this manager on.
And in the end, it really all comes down to a choice, a really big one. Are you going to cling to the comfort of your old self, the beliefs and ideas you've always had, or are you willing to do the hard, sometimes uncomfortable work of building a stronger, more flexible, renewed self?
That decision right there, that's it. That's the first and most important step toward your own mental evolution. It all starts with you asking yourself one simple, but maybe the most powerful question there is. Are you ready to challenge your own mind?